Hey everyone, it's me, Sarah, and today we are going to be talking about, or I am going to be talking about, my TBB pile. That's right, I said TBB, not TBR. TBR means to be read. TBB means to be bought, because I don't own a lot of books. And this year, since I'm trying to get more serious about reading, I say, as it's the 21st and I still have not read past that prologue of Siege and Storm, I need a list of books to buy that will hopefully get me reinterested in reading. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the books I'm, I suppose, most looking forward to buying, or the books I've sort of scrolled through Goodreads and the ones that have sort of caught my attention to buy. Two of them I don't need to buy though. So I started reading Shadow and Bone series last year. This year, obviously, the first two books I need to read are Siege and Storm, which is the second book in the trilogy, and then Ruin and Rising, which is obviously then the last book in the trilogy. It's not, see, this is the thing, I'm not super interested in reading the rest of the series. It's the romance. It's the romance I'm not interested in, but we have a TV series coming out, people, and I need to know the story of Shadow and Bone so I understand what's going on screen and can make the comparisons between the two that I really shouldn't be doing but enjoy doing anyway. The third book I have on my list is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. It's just got such a pretty cover, and it's Leigh Bardugo, and I became a fan of hers through Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom. And that came after Shadow and Bone. So if Shadow and Bone for me was not that good, and Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom were fantastic, then all of the later work that she has should follow the same pattern and be even better than Six of Crows. Perhaps, we don't know. On those terms, the next book that I have is The King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. It's the Grisha universe. Of course I need to read it. I love the Grisha universe. It's absolutely fantastic and amazing, and the characters are fantastic, and the lore and the mythology and the world building is all just I love it. I love it, and I want to explore it more. So everything by Leigh Bardugo is apparently on my list. I'm not ashamed to say it. Whether I like these books or not, that's a whole other story. We'll find out. The next book I have on my list is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. Now, I found this book by simply typing in YA fantasy into Google and see what popped up. And she got me with the mermaids. It sounds, based on the tiny blurb that I found, because this book's not out until the 4th of February, it sounds really cool. It seems really interesting, and the cover's beautiful. I always judge a book by its cover. I'm really sorry, but I do. You're not going to stop me doing it. The next book on my list is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This was recommended to me on the page for All the Stars and Teeth, and the premise sounds really interesting about this sort of like once in a lifetime performance of Caraval, her sister going missing and trying to find it. It sounds really cool. Not looking forward to the romance aspect. I can just tell it's going to be in there. We'll see how it plays out. But it's the premise that got me, and apparently it's a bestseller, and you know, I liked Six of Crows and that was a bestseller, so we'll see if this also lives up to the hype. We're steering away now from YA fantasy. We're heading into middle grade, because there's not going to be romance in a middle grade novel, really. Not the YA standard of it. Anyway, up first, City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Now, I see her name everywhere. I don't actually think I've ever read any of her novels. I don't know what she writes, but typed in MG fantasy into Google and the sequel to City of Ghosts popped up, so I thought, let's take a look at the original. And it's got ghosts in it, people. It's paranormal fantasy, I suppose. But yeah, again, the premise is really, really interesting. That's all I go by, is really the premise of stuff. If it sounds interesting to me and does not hint at too much romance drama, then I'm all for it. You know, that's how I go about things nowadays. The next book on my list is Dragon Pearl by Yoon Ha Lee. This is a sci-fi fantasy, I do believe, about hidden fox spirits and searching through space. And what drew me to this in the first place was the cover. Again, it's got such a cool premise. It's got fox spirits. And it's also a Rick Riordan Presents novel, which is a series, I suppose, that I've been wanting to get into and read for a very, very long time, because Rick Riordan is all about diversity and, you know, him representing and bringing out all of these diverse and own voice writers into telling their stories and representing and showing their culture is absolutely fantastic. And once I read this first book, Dragon Pearl, I'm going to go back to the list of Rick Riordan Presents, and I'm going to try and read my way through it, because I love Rick Riordan as a whole, and
you know what he's doing for kids around the world, and you know all these diverse LGBT characters that he's representing in his novels and now representing. It's a fantastic thing to do. It's brilliant.
Speaking of Rick Riordan, I need to finish off all of his series as well. I started off really well reading them, and then I've sort of stopped, so I need to finish the last Magnus Chase book. I have it somewhere in my house. I need to catch up on Trials of Apollo, because the fourth one comes out this year. I still haven't read the second or third. The fifth one comes out next year, and then who knows what is going to bring out next that I'm going to have to read, simply because it's Rick Riordan. So that is my list. That is my TBB list, my books to read this year, at least so far. Reading all of those should actually, one per month, get me my 12 books. I need to finish Shadow and Bone off first though. I will do it. I will do it. I will do it. Am I straying away from fantasy? Nope. I would rather read a genre that I know that I enjoy to try and get back into reading before I try reading outside of that genre. I'm going middle grade, so we'll see how that works. Please work. I want to read again. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of the books on my list. Do you want to read any of the books on my list? Do you have any other recommendations for me to read? And I will see you in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.